Hi everybody, welcome back to Jaffa Cooks, and today it's mini pizza day. One of the greatest things about mini pizzas, they're so versatile. You can actually use them for picnics, just as a quick snack lunch. Take them out when you're going out on a walk or just a general ride in your car with the kids. And of course, you can put them in the lunchbox as well. That's a great item as well. So very quickly, I'm just going to show you how to make the dough. Then we'll cut out the dough bases, let them rest, and then we'll cover them with pizza sauce and cheese and some toppings, and I'll show you how to finish them off. So let's get to it. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Click on the bell icon, get the latest updates, find out what I'm up to. Tell me how your pizzas came out. I'd love to hear back. Okay, so before we start, one of the key ingredients and one of the key things that you need to understand is this little fellow here. It's called the yeast. Yeast goes very well with sugar, but doesn't go nicely or react very well to salt. So we'll keep the salt away for a while. And really what we need to do is basically start the reaction process of the yeast by introducing sugar and the yeast to lukewarm water. And when I talk about lukewarm water, it should be warm enough to just put your finger in, and about 40 degrees. So it shouldn't be any higher, otherwise you'll kill off the yeast, and that will basically, your dough won't rise. So taking the back of the spoon, and do use a wooden spoon if you can. Metal objects, again, don't react very well to yeast. So I'm just going to give it a quick mix. So I've got some sifted flour. All I'm going to do is introduce it to my mixer and introduce the salt. So my salt and flour in the mixer, I've given it a quick whisk. I've got around about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to use 2 for the dough, and I'll use 1 for my bowl just to cover the outside of it. So before I put the dough in, it basically doesn't stick to the edge and doesn't dry out. Okay, see you in a couple of minutes. So my yeast looks pretty well actually. It's risen nicely. You can see the fermentation's happened. If you look in the video, you'll see an image what this looks like. And that's what really will help now make the dough rise when we put it in a warm, dry place later on. Okay, so I'm now going to mix in the yeast into the flour, and I'll see you back in about 5 minutes to show you what to do next. Halfway through the mix, it'll be a good idea to put in 2 tablespoons of your olive oil and the remaining 1 tablespoon just to leave to cover the glass bowl a bit later on, just before we put the dough into the bowl. Welcome back everybody. So my dough, absolutely perfect. Look how soft and perfect that is. It actually doesn't even need any kneading as well. But just for the sake of, if your dough doesn't turn out as planned, dough is always good to knead as well. You do really need to release the gluten. So it's just basically, it's like when you're kids and playing with dough and plasticine. All you're doing is just pulling it back and pushing it with the palm of your hands. All I'm going to do next is take my olive oil, and all I'm going to do now is just take my dough, just really run it round the side of this bowl to ensure that the bowl isn't covered in oil as well, and so is my dough. Wet damp cloth in a corner that's nice and dry. If it's warm, even better. Leave it for about half an hour, 40 minutes, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. See you later. Welcome back everybody. So my dough has proofed and risen for a few hours now. I've left it an additional hour, and it's turned out perfectly. So I'm just going to turn it upside down, and you can see that the areas where it's actually the yeast has actually done its magic. So there's a lot of air in here. So what I'm going to do is, just to ensure that that air isn't lost and the dough doesn't dry out, I'm going to divide this into 2 pieces, and I'll cover one up, and I'll work with the other one to show you how to make the mini pizzas. I'm just going to lightly dust the base, and you can actually smell the yeast is still very active. So for mini pizzas, it's very simple. It's just cutting out the size of the dough balls you need. This looks about enough for about 10 mini pizzas. I'm going to now make quick mini dough balls out of this, very carefully, trying not to take too much of the air out. So if you've worked or watched my channel before, you'll know that one of the easiest way to roll a dough ball is just to take the dough and push the corners in. And what you're looking for is a nice clean surface on top. Okay, welcome back everybody. So my dough balls are ready to be rolled out. So I'm just going to show you how to do one or two. So let's roll out the first pizza base. Now they don't need to be too small and they don't need to be too big. They should be around about, I think about 2.5 inches wide. If you want them thinner, then do roll them out. But this is a decent size where you can put some enough cheese and toppings on there. So I've got my pizza dough balls rolled out. Now, because they're so rustic, I've just literally left the rolling pin. I've just done them by hand. I've got some homemade pizza sauce. Now, if you haven't got any pizza sauce and you want to find out how to make some, click on the link below and you'll find out how to make this awesome pizza sauce. So all I'm going to do is basically take a little bit of pizza sauce, just put enough on there. So I've laid out the base. I've got the pizza sauce on top of the bases, mini pizzas, and now I'm going to just take some cheese, and it's literally just making up what you think or how you prefer your pizza bases or mini pizzas to turn out. And what you could also do is just, if you've got some olive oil, that would be perfect as well, because that will keep the base, the top of the pizza nice and moist as well and give it a nice little shine. Just a splash really. So I'm just going to pop that onto the tray now. Now I'm going to do this for the rest of the 8 or 10 pizzas as well. Right, my pizzas are done, so I'm going to pop these into the oven at 180 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're nicely melted and golden around the edges. And I'll come back and show you what they look like. See you shortly.